D21 hard body, D21 Nissan hard body owners. What's going on out there? Ready for another video? All right, let's get into this shit. All right, we're going to review the Royal Purple HMX 10 weight 30 full synthetic. We're going to talk about your two different types of cap and rotor, because there's a short and a tall version. The T is actually called the tall, and I got these on Amazon. I ordered the tall rotor and tall cap. The only thing that's going to look different is the rotor, and the cap will be pretty much the same height. If anything, it's like a 3 millimeter difference in height or short. Actually, the tall rotor is actually 3 millimeters lower. You put them side by side, and I'll show you that in a minute. So, what do I think of this awesome oil? Well, it is what it is. It's a lubricant. It's full synthetic. Will I buy it again? I think I'm not going to use anything else but Royal Purple. If that says anything. First of all, it quiets the motor. It gets rid of any kind of sticking in the valve train, the rocker arm assembly. If you have bucket under shims like a 16 valve type motor, you know what I mean. But this is a rocker type valve train. The noisiest of the noisiest. Whenever you have gummed up old sticky oil, you will hear the clattering. Even at low RPM idle, usually disappears at high RPM, but it starts up right away. Better compression. It runs lower in temperature. I want to clarify this right now. Temperature runs lower. The motor is more quiet. It actually sounds more solid. Like if I have less than 150,000 miles on the motor now. Okay, so lower oil, lower temperatures, less burning of the valve stem guide oil ring seals, the valve stem guide seals, because that's usually the first telltale sign that you got some worn O-ring seals. I don't have any leaking front or rear main seal, so if I did, I could tell you if it stopped that. But the HMX has a high content of zinc, and zinc is the liquid chemical, or the compound that's put in there to expand the rubber seals on the front main seal, the rear main seal, and any rubber seal that seals around a reciprocating or moving item in the motor. Okay, so it's a winner in my book. It's a winner. I don't care. I don't mind the extra price. I will use it. I need to do a timing chain guide. I have a timing chain guide kit, because on the right side of the timing chain components, you have the right side and the left side. On the left side, it's curved like this, and you have the oil chain tensioner, and that works off of oil pressure directly from the oil pump. And right after startup, it gets oil pressure, and it pushes out a little hydraulic pin with a guide, and it pushes against the chain, and it keeps the chain. Hey, Jeff, there's my cat, Jeff. I already gave you a weenie, fucker. And that's what keeps the chain nice and guide. Now, on the right side, the factory chain guide is plastic. The newer versions they're steel backed. So when the old ones break, the chain, even though it doesn't need tension on this side, before it gets tension, before the motor has oil pressure, it's going to whip a little bit, and you're going to hear it slapping the inside of here, right? What this oil did was 1 second, and that's cold start. After that, you never hear it again. So that's how much faster this oil pressure, being full synthetic, has already made its way through the little tiny oil gullies, to go to the main bearings on the crank, the cam journal bearings for the cam, the rocker arm assembly, the oil pressure tensioner, the chain guide tensioner, etc. As you notice, guys, I just did my brakes. Ooh, look, nice clear fluid from now on. So let me get over here, show what that looks like real quick. This is Jeff. He's an albino cat. Come here, kitty. He's my cat. He doesn't answer to Rick or Dick or here, kitty. He answers to Jeff. He's an older fella. It's probably one of his bastard children. Anyway, all right. So we covered the oil, its benefits and its claims, and what it does. It's more expensive, true, but the benefits are quieter, smoother, cooler, more compression, and the motor is rev happy. In other words, it revs a lot faster too. So I'm good to go for this winter coming, and even the summer. Since I used, now we're jumping to the brake calipers, and since I used the Stop Tech part number, I forgot what it was, but it's in the description. I think it's 4954000 or 950.4000, something like that. I'm going to replace the, see that? That's like a brake line. That goes to the clutch slave. It's a slave to that little tiny master cylinder next to the brake master cylinder. And I'm going to order one, which is a double, that would be a double male banjo. So it's going to be like an 8 or 9 inch. It don't matter how long it is, as long as it has a curve in it. I'm going to replace that one with a stainless steel by Stop Tech. And yeah, start doing, and then I'll have the 2 rubber brake lines that come off the hard line that go to the back. One that goes to the differentiating valve, and then the one that goes to the hard line that tees off to the left and right rear brake drum cylinders. And that'll be a full high pressure braking system. And then all I got to do is just put on my slotted and drilled front brake rotors with the ceramic brake pads. I mean, guys, like night and day. I'm real embarrassed because normally the underside of my vehicle is clean, the frame, etc., everything. But we've been having like spotty rain, so whenever you drive through that dirty road where it's like kind of wet but it's not real wet, yeah, it just fucks everything up. I need to wash the engine again too. All right, so let's look at this cap and rotor, right? And what I like to do to prepare before I put on a cap and rotor. All right, this is the rotor that you normally get, and what I normally do is I get a little brush, a soft brush, and I clean the contact, the part where the center of the cap touches this, so that way the voltage that comes from the coil, right, comes through the Hitachi coil, goes right in the middle. It's got a little spring loaded bobbin in there, and it touches, and that's where you get all the voltage for your spark plugs, right? Right. And then I also always clean the tip. So this one is barely used, but it can be used again, right? That's the standard. Here's the tall rotor. See? And these things are put on the shelf for a while, so I already cleaned it, right? Here's the height difference. And here is the tall cap. Is it taller? No, it's actually shorter. See? And there's that little piece in there. Spring loaded. I'm going to get a brush and clean that. And that way, you know, my ignition is super clean. I have the most effective flow of electrons, of voltage. Right? Pretty smart, right? Guys, I can only tell you this. When it comes to keeping it stupid, keeping it smart and simple, you want to keep your ignition, your electronics in the best shape possible. You'll get the best miles per gallon, your MPGs. You'll always get quick, clean starts. You know, you want to make sure your motor starts, so that if anything else is fucked up, at least it started. You don't want a hesitant, because if you start lacking in voltage, transfer from your coil, your spark plugs, etc., you will get bad gas mileage. You will get poor motor. You will get poor power delivery, poor torque delivery. I mean, it's just gonna, it starts from here and it goes to the rest. Okay, so I use the NGK spark plug wires. I use the NGK Iridium spark plugs. They're already pre-gapped and they're about $4.95 to $5 a piece. Are they worth it? Fuck yeah, they're worth it. It's not a race vehicle, but they are like racing like spark plugs. NGK does all their R&D and high revving motors on the racetrack. Therefore, they put the product out to you so you can put it in your vehicle and get the same performance, long lasting, day after day, etc. All right, so we talked about the ignition. All right, and when I take this cap and rotor off, I'm going to clean it and put that aside for another day. All right, let's talk about the Weber carburetor real quick. See all that nasty brown shit? That's not fuel. What that is that's the color of the buildup, because these carburetors, they sweat. So basically, what a cold air induction system does for like a turbo car, where they put the little radiator in front to cool the air charge, right? Because you want the air charge as cool as you can be as it's getting forced into the motor. So what this does, these carburetors do, is they sweat. They stay nice and chilled, so they keep the air charge cold. That's why it's very crucial when setting your idle mixture screws. 1.5 turns out max. Okay, for leaner running conditions, 1.25 or one full turn. I wouldn't go any lower than that or be too lean. To the guy out there who's doing his install on his electric 16-inch fan, good luck. I told him, you do use any method of madness you can come up with to do it, just like I did. There's no written rule book, you know, it's invisible. Put notes, whatever, keep them in your head. There's no right or wrong way to do it. Just make sure that it stays flush and you have clearance of your water pump pulley, okay? And put those nuts on there and lock them good. What else can I cover? Keep all your electronics good. Your power and ground's nice and solid. We talked about the royal purple, your ignition system. Carburation. What I'm going to do to make this look pretty, I'm going to go get some of the gray Permatex silicone, and I'm just going to paint this all gray, because the water moisture, right? Basically, it sweats so much, so it turns that clear silicone. It looks nasty. But other than that, you know, this is how a nice, clean 38mm Outlaw downdraft carburetor just runs flawless every day, day after day. Starts up on the first crank. Have the one in from the high pressure electronic fuel pump coming in from the filter, returning back to the tank.